Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu and I'm back with another Digimon video. So today I'm going to be talking about my Nationals run. So at Nationals, I already made a post both on Facebook and on YouTube that I did manage to get top 64, and I honestly think that's probably the best I've ever done at Nationals. I feel like I've been improving every single year. I have to go back to see if I actually have been improving every single year, but this is easily one of my best, if not the best, Nationals run I ever had. Which is cool to say. So, if anyone's unfamiliar with the deck that I decided to bring, it was Mirage. So, I've been practicing on Mirage. I felt very confident on Mirage, and Mirage, for the most part, treated me well. Uh, the list I already posted, and there's literally nothing special about this list at all. No spicy tech, no unique or original concepts outside of implementing some scrambles. That was about the most interesting thing that I can say I did. But I'm pretty sure other Mirage players added scrambles to their deck as well. As far as the event goes, obviously it went pretty well. This is the top 64 playmat. And I did get lots of extra goodies, or not really extra goodies, just goodies in general. So the competitor badge actually is like a hard plastic compared to like other years where it was just paper and a sleeve that was wrapped around my neck with a lanyard. So this one's a little higher quality. We also did end up getting a comic book, which does have a couple of like different Digimon comics. I did get this signed by ProZD. ProZD was like the celebrity that was there, or one of the English voice actors. He was there more to promote Gundam than anything. That's why he was on the Gundam stream. Same with Team APS or ASP or whoever they are. Yeah, they were just there to be Gundam shills. But that aside, I did get my comic signed by him, and it actually does have a couple of like first chapters, so it's a nice little extra thing. Outside of that, I did do the scavenger hunt, so it's the same stuff from Gen Con. So nothing special here. Obviously, the most important card in here is the Wormmon. Everything else is kind of just whatever, take it or leave it. But cool that we were able to get these. The scavenger hunt this time was actually ran pretty smooth. They basically had us answer questions on like a website, and it would give us like a point. And we also got to scan a QR code when prompted to, and that got us a point. And then we basically used those points to cash in for various prizes. So this was like worth 10 points. Then the other ones was like another action point, which was like worth 1. I think the Luffy promo, which was also worth 1. Both of these, they're not new things. And then the thing that was worth 2 was the Digimon Liberator stuff, and you couldn't double dip. So I couldn't say, hey, I don't want these, I want another one of this. They wouldn't let you. So I was forced to get them, but obviously the important cards was Wormmon and these. So really cool there. And then obviously being in top 64, I got some pretty decent prizes. You had your little Liberator promo from like the Cardfest stuff that they've been doing. Again, nothing unique here. I think the whole thing, nothing was really unique. I think the only unique thing was like the action point. And then I already sold my Luffy's, so that didn't matter. But obviously I'm here for Digimon, so the Liberator alt art is definitely a nice thing to have. And it was just part of the entry stuff, so not really interesting or exciting there, but definitely nice to have. Then when it comes to the actual prizing, I did, because got top 64, get some extra or additional championship packs. I didn't open them and trade because I wanted to open them on camera. So sorry for anyone who wanted to trade. As far as like my event pack 7s, I got a whole bunch. So I got 2 Death X's. You could kind of read them there. I believe this is Atomic Flare or Atomic Inferno. I got Chaos X Antibody, I got a Protoform and a Magnamon. So not bad event pack 7 pulls, I would say. And as far as these go, before I actually like kind of talk about like my deck and my run, let's have some fun and open up the championship packs because these have some pretty cool cards. As far as how my run went overall, though, I was pretty okay with how the event played out. It was a pretty smooth event. I think there was a couple of hiccups on like Saturday morning because they didn't have people register. Like they couldn't do pre-registration for like the general admissions. So that kind of made side events a little weird. So, but I was in the main event, so I couldn't play in any of the side events. So it's not like that impacted me, but I heard that was a little on the screwy side. And then some of the other side events, like the Gundam side event, was just a lottery. So there were a couple of guaranteed enters, but those like long since passed, and you literally just had to lottery RNG your way into the Gundam event. So I couldn't try that out, and I unfortunately didn't really feel like playing in any of the other side events. So I can't really say how good those were ran. Because that would have been my whole Sunday if I would have done any of the side events. So, and I was exploring and meeting people, and I did end up seeing and meeting with a lot of really fun and interesting people. So there were a couple of other YouTubers that I met up with. So I did get a button from TCG Tamer. He was a really cool dude. Then I met Digimon basically at the same time because I think they were versing each other. So that was kind of neat. I was definitely spectating that match because they were literally right next to me. Digimon was on Three Great Angels and TCG Tamer was on Magnamon X Antibody. I think he was on the DNA variant. So that was kind of cool. Seeing them, meeting them, and just talking and having a good time. Then I obviously met Donkey Nog, and I met a Vault, and I just tried to meet as many people as I possibly could. Overall, I think my championship pulls were pretty alright. One Manzemon, I would have probably preferred more Manzemons over the Agus or the Gabus, but I like the art on the Agus and Gabus. All of the art here is pretty fire. Getting the most analog use and a full set of Mother is not bad. So, can't really complain there. Pulls were pretty good. So, that's it for my prize packs, and obviously you can see my prize playmat. And then as far as how the tournament actually went for me, so I ended up with a 6-3 record. It was a full 9 rounds. Round 1, I faced the person who ended up getting second place in the whole tournament. So that felt pretty, I guess, good. Knowing that I lost to one of the best players. So that was Donkey Nog on Leviamon, and I lost that one because he, in one of the games, just completely floodgated me out. 2 to 3 Gazis really hurts just because I rely on gaining memory to be tempo efficient, and if I don't have a floodgate to lock them out of playing the game, then they're just going to accelerate faster than me, so they're able to do all of their plays while I'm unable to do my plays. So that was one of my game losses, and then we did end up going the full 3. There actually wasn't a whole lot of these games I went the full 3 rounds. This was one of them, though, and it was very exciting because I was able to combo off and do my thing. Which Mirage generally has an easy time of doing. So I comboed off and did my thing, and then in game 3, I tried to play around a Levia play, and then he just dropped Anubis on me, and I had no real response, because I was positioned myself to try to not be as impacted as Leviah. So he just dropped the Anubis, brought back his Floodgate, and then I was kind of just hard locked out of the game because I played around the wrong card. So very fun match, very good player. Congratulations on getting your invite to Worlds, and I wish you the best at Worlds. So that was my round one. Round two, I ended up winning. It was against a Lugamon, and there's not really anything too special I could say about this matchup. It's kind of just an arms race to who OTKs first. It's like, if I set up my OTKs, like, so the unfortunate thing about Lugamon is the floodgates that I'm playing really don't stop the deck at all. Just because the way Lugamon works, it can basically just ignore memory, and yeah, who cares if they're paying more for their cards when their cards just don't really care. I think the only floodgate that would matter would be Madoki Betamon, but they weren't even able to get up into their Takumi Kazuchi once because I just moved too fast and I closed out the game with Mirage OTKing them. So yeah, that basically happened twice. So nothing really special there. So that was Lugamon in a nutshell. Then round 3 was Magnamon X Antibody. So this was a more traditional armor variant. It wasn't trying to do like any DNA shenanigans. And I lost because I bricked twice. You can't do that against Magnamon, especially since Magnamon already puts you on a clock because you can't interact with him, or you have very limited ways to interact with him. So once he got into his Magnamon, he just started swinging, and because I couldn't get up into any of my, cards to actually win the game, even with a Magnamon on the field, I just ended up losing the game. So round 1 of this set, or like game 1 of this set, I didn't see a level 4. I'm running like 9 of them, so I reasonably should see a level 4. So I lost because I didn't see a level 4, and then the game after that, I lost because I didn't see a level 5. So, yeah. Just bricks still happen, even with a whole bunch of consistency tools. I think maybe I should have just shuffled my deck better, and then the randomization would have been okay enough to statistically let me see my cards, but didn't happen, so ended up losing that one. Then going into round 4, this was the last time I would lose for the rest of the day, and that was the Demon Lords. So I am running a singular Otamamon for this matchup specifically. The Otamamon is very good, and I would like to run more of it, but the only problem is this is the only matchup where Otamamon actually kind of matters. Granted, yes, this is a pretty hard matchup, but I also played this matchup pretty poorly because I was trying to be aggressive and chip, and I shouldn't have done that. So I should have just played a little bit more patiently, and yeah, I just was banking on the fact that maybe if I get like a Mirage out with an extra rookie out, then he just wouldn't be able to get rid of the Mirage, and I could win off of the Mirage, but that was not necessarily the smartest play. So I should have just waited until I had OTK. And then the other big thing was they outed the Otamamon. They were running Porcupamons, but they outed it with a Biting Crush, and because they outed it with Biting Crush, it made using my Honkoons, which is my main level 5, significantly worse because I can't play my Digimon by card effects, which I want to do to increase their hand size, and they don't draw a whole lot of cards, so they're not constantly increasing their hand size, and I need them to have a B at a particular hand state in order for my cards to be that much more effective. So the fact that even though they spent a lot of memory to out my Digimon, it didn't matter because I didn't have a response. So that sucked, losing the Otamamon, which is the only answer I have to it other than just try to hope and pray to OTK them. So yeah, I just ended up losing, and the card that I lost to was the Lucimon in both games. So they would play Lucimon at such an opportune time where when I'm ready to combo off, I physically can't because I would be forced to bounce their level 5 because of how Mirage works. And if I tried to get rid of their level 5 by anything but just attacking into it, then they use the ability to basically say, okay, yeah, sure, this can be removed, but here's another level 6, and this one's going to out the stack that you just played. So I just was locked out of the game because Lucimon is just a dumb, stupid card. Um, and I didn't really get to make that great of use of my other counter tech, which was the Tamer Bouncer because of Evade. Running it at 1 is nice, but sometimes I wish I had more of it. And then I was also running the Paladin mode Ace for that matchup too, which would have been nice to see, but again, just didn't get there, didn't have the opportunity. Uh, I think I had like maybe one turn where I could have tried to use it, but I think I was just trying to set up something else instead. But yeah, it was a very brutal matchup that I ended up losing to because I misplayed. I definitely felt like it wasn't like as hard negative as I'm making it out to be. I think I just misplayed, and I might have been able to win under like different circumstances if I played my board state a little bit smarter. Then going into round 5, this was Imperial, and I beat Imperial because floodgates are good. What can I say? Like, playing the Madoki Betamon, stopping them from being able to gain memory when they DNA, is insanely important because my opponent was never able to establish a level 6 Digimon because I always got rid of the level 5. And I was able to OTK them because, sure, they could partition, but they can't gain the memory off of the Madoki. So, like, what are they reasonably going to do? And then, because I was in a Mirage, like, they can't play a whole lot of their rookies because that's going to force them to draw cards and that would end their turn. So, between these two cards sitting on the field, it really put the Imperial player in a bad spot, and I took full advantage of them being in that bad of a spot. Then going into round 6, it was against Ancient Greymon. I won because, like all OTK decks, it's basically a ginormous 50-50 on who pops off first. And the answer was me. Then going into round 7, that was a Galaxy Mirage. So Galaxy Mirage, yes, does go have the ability to go up into Mirage way faster than base Mirage, but the big thing about Galaxy Mirage and why it's doing so bad now is literally because they're not playing Floodgates. So they don't have as good of answers to Floodgates as base Mirage because they don't have the level 4s that are bouncing the level 3s. And they also don't have the level 5s that are bouncing the level 3s. I mean, granted, they have a level 5 that does bounce a level 3, and then they also have a level 5 that deletes level 3. But by that point, usually it's too late. So when they do have the answer, it usually is too late, and the Floodgate already did a very good job at slowing down their game plan. So against my round 8, it was also a Galaxy Mirage, and I beat them both 2-0s. Just because, again, the floodgates were good enough to slow them down, and because they didn't have their floodgate to slow me down, I just went up and did my thing. I slowed them down, outed their one big stack that they invested all of this effort into. They didn't have any other resources set up. I mean, sure, they had their tamer and whatnot, but it would take a turn or two to set up. I also was still sitting on the floodgate combo, and they just couldn't play the game after I outed them once, and I was able to beat them basically 4 times in a row because that was round 7 and 8 was the exact same thing. I can't really say it played out any different. Then going into my round 9, this was the only other round, I believe, that it went to 3 games, and it was against a pure Mirage mirror. So the only reason why I won one of those games, because, you know, it's just a race of back and forth on who is able to, get up into their big combo in OTK. He was not running a good enough level 6 suite. He was literally just on 4 mirages. So one of the games he bricked and he just couldn't see mirage. I think both games that I won, he just bricked because he couldn't see mirage. Like, he saw a lot of his other pieces, he just didn't see mirage, which is arguably the most important piece. So even though I am running 4 of this mirage, I at least have like some other level 6s to subsidize with. So if I don't see this mirage, I can still kind of do something. And they do help, considering both of these are tamer removal, essentially. Overall, out of the 9 rounds, X and 3 getting 51st place, making it to top 64 is good enough for me. So just to kind of wrap things up, as far as the event goes, it was a pretty smooth event, and I was pretty happy with how it was ran overall. There probably was a couple of hiccups, but I didn't exactly see or notice any of those hiccups, and I just had a lot of fun. To me, this type of an event is less about the game and more about the community. And the community, outside of a couple of outliers, because that's the case with all communities, is actually a really good community. I have enjoyed all of my opponents, and everyone that I kind of met seemed like they were having a good time. One other interesting thing to note before I talk about like where the meta stands in my perspective is Bandai did actually interview me. I don't know if or when that's going to be on their YouTube channel, but that was definitely a small little victory, getting interviewed by Bandai. Sure, they just wanted it to be on the more positive side, which I very easily can be. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that if and when that comes out. But as far as the meta, it's very obvious that this event was B Mirage or beat Mirage, and a lot of the decks that I've seen looking at a lot of the tables was basically exactly that. It was either B Mirage or be one of the decks that can beat Mirage, or just be one of the decks that just doesn't care about the game entirely and is just going to do its own thing. So that pretty much was the meta in a nutshell. Yes, there was a couple of the off decks, but the deck to beat in this event was mostly Mirage, and that probably was due to the European event, Mirage taking it there and being in the top slots. And again, Mirage was still the majority of our top 32. It was the most represented deck. It was still pretty well represented in top 16s also. And yeah, the game definitely is in a really interesting spot. Yes, there technically is a good amount of decks to play, but when it comes to anything but those decks, I've only seen that decrease as time passes, and we've only been playing the same decks since basically BT16. Sure, each deck kind of gets a little bit new tools, and the only real new deck is Purple Hybrids, because Lord Knight as its own deck kind of seemed to like fizzle out and fade out of existence. So like at least Leviamon is actually like countering a lot of meta decks because of how dumb Leviamon actually is, because of like the stupidity of Biting Crush. This meta definitely was B Mirage or beat Mirage, and Floodgates are also having a huge impact on the format as a whole as well, just because you need Floodgates to slow the opponent down, and that definitely is a huge aspect. And like part of why I think Demon Lords like won the event is literally because the player teched for Mirage and then ended up facing not Mirage, so their floodgate quantity / quality for those specific matchups was a lot worse. So that's where like Demon Lord still can do very well, outside of the fact that it's using a lot of toxic cards, but I digress. And like overall, meta-wise aside, I know the game could be in a better position, and I really hope Bandai fixes it, but that's the same position that a lot of people are in. I don't know if I'm going to be wanting to have that competitive drive going into 2025, considering like just a small little channel update. There's a lot of things changing with my life. My job officially sucks. I'm trying to get a new one. It's impacting how I literally do everything. That's just the start of things, is fixing my life by trying to get a new job. Regardless, Meta-wise, I really just hope Bandai has a good, solid ban and restriction list, or if not a one good, solid ban and restriction list, a string of good ones, so that way the meta can be back to, like, what we were used to, having a good, actual, like, very, very spread out, diverse pool, not the same 8 decks we've been playing for a year, because that's getting boring real fast. Like I said, this event was more about the community and less about the game for me. And I just want Digimon to be as good as it possibly can be. And that's my only real hope going forward, is just the game gets better. But anyway, I think this video has gone on long enough. I want to take this time to thank everyone for listening all the way to the very end. And if you want more of my content, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date when my videos go live next. And I hope to see everyone in the next video.